Hi everybody, I'm Mark Wallace, and if you're anything like me, you want to take your photos from your camera and show them to the world as quickly as possible without having to spend hours and days and months in front of your computer screen editing those images. And that's why I'm happy to tell you about Luminar Neo. Now, I've been using Luminar Neo now for a few months, and I gotta say, I'm a true believer because Neo harnesses the power of AI and the latest technologies to allow you to edit images incredibly quickly. And so instead of just telling you how wonderful this is, I want to show you. I tried to decide exactly what I wanted to show you today, and I narrowed it down to, I think, my 20 most favorite features, but just doing one of those per minute would take me 20 minutes. And so I'm really condensing this to some editing techniques that I think are realistic, things that you would actually need to know and do in the everyday thing. So we're not gonna do a spectacular image. We're gonna do a bunch of images that I think represent how you would actually edit day to day. And so before I forget, if you want to know more about this software, I've included a link in the description of this video. You can click on that and see all the pricing, all that kind of stuff. Plus there's a discount code, MarkWallace10, you get 10% off. And so all that's there for you. Make sure you check out those links. So let's first understand what Neo is doing, how it's using AI to edit images. And so we're gonna just start with this photo here of Leanne. Now, when I look at this photo, I see a woman, I see that she has a nice top on, and she's got dark hair, and she's got a light complexion, and there's a tree there, and there's some branches. I see not just an image, I see some depth, I see individual things. Neo sees that as well. Using AI, it can see all of the different elements in a photo. So let me just show you here. This is the photo. I'm gonna go over here to edit, and then I'm just gonna choose one of these tools. We've got a bunch of tools here on the right-hand side. It doesn't matter which one I choose, but I'm gonna click on this thing called masking here. Now, masking and other editing tools allows you to go in and do local adjustments where you select with the brush just the thing that you want to select and edit, or use some kind of other advanced technique. Well, that's all built into Neo. And so if I just go in here and I say AI mask, it's going to it'll examine this photo. You can see it working here. Bleep, bloop. It's going in and checking out everything. Now, it knows where the human is. It knows where the flora is. It knows where the ground is. It knows all of these different things because it's evaluated the image. And so what happens is if I edit this image, it uses that mapping to intelligently apply those edits. And so it's really quite spectacular. So what I can do is I can use a preset. And so I'll go here and use a preset. Here's one that's been recommended from me. The AI has looked at this image and it says, you know what? I think this one of these would work best for this. I'm just gonna choose Cozy Den. It's going to evaluate the image and apply a bunch of edits to this image, and I'm done with just one click. Now I can go over here and click on Edit, and I can click on Edits, and I can see all of the different things that that preset applied. A preset is a collection of tools that are applied to an image in an intelligent way. You can use the presets that come with Neo, or you can create your own using all of the tools that are built in. And that's what I want to show you. I want to sort of show you some of the presets that I love and some of the tools that I love, and how you can combine all these things to create some really interesting edits incredibly quickly. So let's go in. I'm just going to show you how I can do this so fast. Here is an image. This is Patagonia Lake. I think it could be a little bit better out of the camera. It's sort of good. I'm going to go over here to presets. It's going to look at this and it's going to say, hey, for this photo, I think some of these might work. So I'm just going to click on this one, Waterscapes. And then I can hover over and I can see which ones work. Soft fix looks good to me. I'm going to click on that. It's going to apply that preset and I'm done. That's it. So I can see before and after. I can go in and edit all these edits from the preset, these different tools. I can make adjustments. I can do whatever I want, or I can just choose that. And I think that's pretty good. I just edited an image with a single click. Let me show you some specific tools though, and how this intelligence is applied to these specific tools that make up the presets. So this is an image of my friend Diana. We shot this for a catalog shoot and we just didn't have any lighting. And I really, really wish I could have separated her from the surroundings by using a softbox and underexposing the ambient light. Well, check this out. I can go into Edit. I'm going to go over to my tools, and here's on this creative section here, one of my favorite tools is Relight. And so it's going to look through this image, figure out the depth, and I'm going to say the brightness far away. Let's take that down. Blunk. And so it's going to evaluate. Check that out. It just made things behind Diana a little bit darker. I can go through here and change the depth. So manually saying where I want that to happen. And look at that. It looks like I used a softbox. Just a couple of sliders and I am done. I absolutely love that. What if you have a group of images? Maybe you did a photo shoot and you want to apply the edits from one photo to everything, and not just the tonality and the exposure adjustments, but things like skin fixes and blemish removal and spot removal and all that kind of stuff. Let me show you how you can do just that. I have this photo shoot. I just did this in one of my recent videos here. And so here's a bunch of images. I can filter these by my favorites. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to choose this image right here. I want to convert this to black and white, high contrast. I want to fix the blemishes on Destiny's skin, and then I want to apply that to the entire image. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over to my presets, and then for this one, we can see that monochrome is recommended based on what the AI sees. I want this to be monochrome, so I can go over here and I can hover over these to get a quick preview of what's happening. And low key is the look that I want. So I'm just going to click on that, and this is going to apply that preset. And then I can go in and look and see, yeah, this is that high contrast look I want, but the skin retouching isn't quite where I want it to be. So what I can do is I can go over to Edit. I can click on Edits to see what the preset applied, and then check it out. Down here we have skin. If I click on skin, skin defects have not been activated. So I will activate that. I will turn this way up so it's really smoothing everything out. And then look at that. I can click this little eye here to see before and after. And we can see that now the AI is retouching her skin. That looks good. I will close this, and then let's look at that finished result. That looks great. So that's good for one image, but what about all the other ones? I want that same effect to be applied. So I'm going to go back to my catalog, and then I can just click on this first image, shift click, and then I can select these other images, right click, say adjustments, sync adjustments. These images are syncing, and so now we can go in and we can look at this image right here. We can see that all of those adjustments have been applied. We can see that as this pops in, we have all of those skin adjustments that are made, and it looks fantastic. And I was able to do that by just clicking sync, and everything is synced up. My entire photo shoot is ready for me to crop and send out and export and do whatever I want. And I was able to do that incredibly quickly. I want to show you some other things that we can do, specifically how we can take and replace different elements in an image. So I'm going to go over here. I've got a shot of downtown Paris here. This is close to the opera. This is sort of a not so fantastic image. I think I can make it much, much better. And so what I'm going to do here is, first I'm going to choose a preset that I think is going to work. So I'm going to click on presets here, and then I'm going to go over here and see what it recommends. And so we've got some different things. Urban style, I think that's probably got something that I like. I'm going to hover over, oh, there's the first one I think works. So I'll just click on that, Old Town, and we can see right off the bat, we've got some contrast and color and edits, but it's not exactly where I want it to be. I want to show you another tool that I use all the time. So I'm going to go over here to Edit, and then to my tools. And then there's one that is absolutely my favorite. It's right here in favorites, called Sky. I'm going to click on that, and I want to replace the sky. And so what I will do here is I'm going to go in and I'm going to choose a dramatic sky. And then I think what I'll do is I'll choose, I don't know, this one right here. Looks pretty good. I'm just going to click on that, and then the AI is going to go and figure out exactly where it needs to go and check it out. Before and after, that looks fantastic. And so you can see with just a couple of clicks, I was able to go from before and after and make an image that I'm really proud of. There are some other things that Neo does very, very well. Specifically, what if you need to correct very, very specific parts of an image? There's some trash, some things that you don't like, you want to brighten something up, but you just want to do that really quickly with a couple sliders. We can do that. So I'm going to go in here. There's an image that I shot. This is from my travels around the world. I met this guy in Mongolia. He's a marmot hunter. And so I want to use this in a book that I'm writing. And so I don't want to do some crazy edits. I want to keep this sort of realistic, but you can see that we've got this bottle here. I don't want that trash in there. And it's sort of a bland image. So let's start by going to our presets. And the first thing I want to do is see sort of what is recommended from me. We've got a bunch of different things. But what I want to do is I don't have to choose what's recommended. I can choose something else. So I'm going to choose this overcast collection. And then I think this one right here, dramatic result, is going to look pretty good. So I can look at the before and the after, and that is pretty good. It's still in the spirit of what I want to show people of what I experienced. Okay, there's a couple of problems with this image. I want to fix those. One, his face is underexposed, and then we've got this bottle here that's pretty nasty. And so let's go in and start looking at the tools that we can use. So over here on the tools, I'm just going to go down and I'm going to go to portrait and I'm going to click on face. And then there's this face light. So I can just slide that over. So I'm going to slide that over to about 60, something like that. And then look, it applies that to his face. So before, after, it just automatically knows where his face is. I think that's pretty cool. The other thing we're going to do is get rid of this bottle. So up at the top here, we have some essentials. One of those is called erase. So I can just click on that, choose a brush size that's about the right size there. And then I'm going to brush over this bottle here. And I'm just going to say erase. And so what it's doing is it's looking at the texture and everything around it. And it just take it out. Look at that. So I'm going to zoom in here to 100%. That's where the bottle used to be. You can see before and after here, we can see that there was a bottle there. I'll do this little slider here so you can sort of see what's going on. Check it out. It doesn't just replace the bottle, it actually adds in all of that grass and dirt and everything to match exactly that background. That's just nuts. So we can take things out of an image in a very intelligent way. And I absolutely love that. And so let's keep going with this. We can also do some crazy things. Now, this is something that I just want to show you. It's a feature that is really, really cool. We've got over here in the catalog, we've got some different things, gen erase, gen swap. These are generative erasing and generative swapping things out, generative expand. We're going to learn about this gen swap and gen expand. So what I can do is just select my image and I'm going to say gen swap. So I want to generate something and swap it out with something else. So I'm imagining what would happen if I would have brought this dude some cool cowboy boots. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint on the thing that I want to swap out. And so I'm going to swap his boots. So I'm just going to paint over the boots here, just like this. I'm going to paint over this boot right here, just like that. Donk-da-donk. Now, what do I want to swap it with? I'm going to type in cowboy boots. And then I'll say swap. It's going to go through here. It's going to evaluate this image. It's going to figure out exactly what's going on. And then using the power of AI, check this out. Boom. The dude's got cowboy boots on. It's so cool. So you can see I just swapped out his boots with cowboy boots. And then I can say, okay, save. And bam, I have just generatively swapped out and created an entirely new picture. And so that's the power of AI and some of the things that you can do. I don't think I'm going to leave those boots on him, but you could if you wanted to. I could maybe put a fishing pole in his hand or do all kinds of stuff. It's one of my favorite things to do with this tool is to go and swap things out and see if I can create some new things. Okay, we got more to explore. So what I want to do is go back over here to this catalog, and I want to show you how you can start layering things with overlays to create depth in an image. And so let me go over here to my demo images. I've got this photo right here. This is Lydia that we shot in the studio. She's using an angle grinder to create all these sparks. I really like this photo, but I think we could just add a little bit of depth. And so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go over to edit, And on the left-hand side, you can see that we have layers. And so what I want to do is I want to add some layers on top of this to add some artificial depth to it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is grab this plus right here. I'm gonna click on that, and then let's go and choose one of these stardust bokehs, and then I think this one right here. So I'm gonna click on that. That just adds some dimension to it. But notice it's on her face here. I don't want that. So what I can do is I can mask that out. I can delete that. And so what I'll do is I'm gonna go over here to masking and get a radial gradient. And then I'm just gonna pull this over like that. So now what it's doing is anything where it's red is where that mask or where that layer is gonna show up. And so what I need to do is reverse this, invert it. And so I'll just click invert. And now the red is everywhere except her face. That looks good. I will close that. Bam, that's done. That looks pretty cool. So I'm gonna add even more depth to this. So I'm gonna add just one more layer here. And what I'll do is I'm gonna go down and add a flare to this. I think I like that. But this red is on the wrong side. So I'm just going to click this button right here. It's gonna flip it around. That looks pretty good. There we go. Before and after. Before and after. That's pretty cool. Now watch this. Once we have this stuff, we can save it as a preset where we can use it later on. So over here on the lower left-hand corner, we have actions. I can say save as preset. And so I'm gonna save this as Lydia Sparks. Bam, Lydia Sparks. Now anytime in the future I wanna apply these layers with that mask, I can just by clicking on this Lydia Sparks preset. In fact, what I've done is I've created a preset for this image. So if I go to presets and I go over here to my presets, I have one called Cami in the Rain. I'll click on that and bammo, look, I have done essentially the same thing with this image by using one of the presets that I've created. So you can create your own presets from layers, you can create it from the tools that you apply, from tools and layers, anything. You can package those together, create a preset, and then apply those in the future to any photo that you want. And I absolutely love that ability. I wanna take a look now at a different problem I have. Sometimes I have been out shooting using a camera that doesn't have really high resolution, and that limits my ability of how I can print those images. And so one of the images that I have that I really love is this image right here. This is an image of these monkeys. You can see if we go in really tight here, that we have a lot of detail in the skin and the fur and lots of fine detail. But when I crop in here, I want to print it really large. There's just not enough resolution to do that. So I want to upscale this image. I can do that so easily. So there's an upscale tool here. I can just drag this over, stick it in there. I can make this 2 times, 4 times, or 6 times the size that it actually is. I'm just gonna double the size here. So I'm gonna click on upscale, and then the Neo is gonna go in and evaluate this image and intelligently increase the resolution by 200%. So now I can print that and use it in places I never before thought I could. So let's take a look at these results. And now here we have it. So if I zoom in, check this out. Now we can see that we've preserved all of those fine details in the fur and the highlights, and everything is there. So now I can print this out in a way that I never before could just by using that very, very simple tool. Okay, there's another thing I want to show you that's sort of mind-blowing. So what we're going to do is we're now going to start merging images using some HDR merges. And so the first thing I want to do is take a look at this image right here. This is a basilica, the Basilica of the National Vow in Quito, Ecuador. And so I shot 3 different images here so I could merge these as an HDR image. And in the past, when I've tried to merge these, it just didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. So let's try that here in Neo. So I'm gonna choose these 3 images here, and I'm just gonna drag them over here to HDR merge. And then the other thing I'm gonna do is make sure auto align is turned on and ghost reduction. I shot these handheld, and so I wanna make sure everything lines up correctly. And so once I've done that, I will say merge, and now everything's gonna just be done for me. Now here is the final result. Now the nice thing is once you have this, we can go in and we can start working with it. So what I want to do is go into develop, And I'm going to change the exposure just a little bit, pull that down, and then I'm going to go into the color here, and I'm going to take the saturation down just a little bit. Okay, now the other thing that you'll notice is this is looking like it is falling backwards. And so what I need to do is fix that. So all I have to do is go down here to transform. I'm still in the develop tool, and here is a little icon right here to fix that. Bammo, that's done. Now what I want to do is crop this. So I'm going to go and crop this and just pull this down a little bit, make this widescreen. And I like that. I will apply it and then check that out. Just like that, I created an HDR image of this basilica with just a couple of clicks. I changed the exposure and the saturation and the crop. Super fast, it's ready to export just like that. So one more thing I want to show you. Let's do that same thing, but now what we're going to do is we're going to choose a photo of the Louvre. Now this again is a handheld shot. One of the things that you'll notice is there are people walking around in this image. And so I want these people to not show up as ghosts. And so if I merge this normally, those three images together, you would see sort of the people as they moved, they would look like little ghosts of each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull these into HDR merge. I want to make sure that auto align and ghost reduction is turned on. Then I'm going to click merge. Now, one of the things that I did with this, I did this previously, I spent some time with all the different tools to change the luminosity and the saturation and replace the sky like I did in the other Paris skyline. And so I saved that all as a preset. So here's what I have. This is the image right here as it's merged. And so what I want to do is I want to change this dramatically with that preset that I already made. So I'm going to go in here. I've got a preset called Louvre. I will click on that and check this out. It's going to go in, evaluate this image. Bam! Look at that, before and after. So I've replaced the sky, I've changed the color, I've made it warmer, I've done all those kinds of things. And so I absolutely love that. We can go over here. If I want to, I can see which edits I made. You can see we have develop edits and sky replacement and mood. So that made it a little bit warmer. I enhanced the image, so I increased the contrast. So all of those things have been applied to this automatically. And so now what I want to do is I want to go in there and I want to crop this. So I'm just going to crop this like this. I will pull this up about like that. And that looks pretty good, except there's an issue with this. I don't know if you spotted it. So as this comes in up here, the top of this building's chopped off because I didn't photograph it. It doesn't exist. It's not anywhere to be found. So what I can do is I can go over here, and then there is this thing called generative expand. I'm going to pull this over to generative expand. Now the computer is going to go and it's going to evaluate this using AI. It's figuring out all the stuff in this image, and it's going to know that it's got a problem up here. So I'm just going to pull this up like that, and I'm just going to say expand. I'm going to let the AI figure out what needs to happen with the sky and the building and all of that kind of stuff. I just want that little corner to go in there, but also the sky. I want all of that to be expanded. And so like magic, it happens. Boom, there it is. You can see now I have a full building. The sky goes along with it. I can say save. And so now I can preview this. Everything is there. So I have let the computer artificially expand and create a part of the image that was never there in the first place. I never photographed it. I think that is pretty darn amazing. Now I want to show you one more thing just to show you what kind of a true believer I am. I have another image here, and this right here, this is the Buzlaja. It's a giant monument in Eastern Europe, in Bulgaria, and I want to include this in my book. It was a big part of my journey. Watch how fast I can edit this. So we're going to go over here to my presets. We're going to use this Louvre preset, even though it was made for the Louvre. Look at that. I can apply this and whammo, I have this amazing image just with one click. You can see before and after, all those sky replacements, all that stuff has been done. There are a couple issues here though. Look, I've got this sign in this image, and I also have a couple of dudes here. No problem. Let's go over to the edit. Let's go over to our erase tool. I'm gonna paint really quickly over this sign. So that's all highlighted. I'm gonna paint over this dude and this guy right here. They don't need to be in the picture. Let's click erase, let the AI do its thing. And then once all of that is done, we can see that we have this amazing, it's like this doesn't even exist. Check that out. The sign, the dudes, they're all gone. In fact, I'll take this little white thing here, before and after, and it's like we just took a squeegee to this image and cleaned it all up to make it exactly the way that we wanted it to be. Before, after, before, after. I absolutely love the power of Luminar Neo. Now I could go on and on and on about so many more tools and presets and things in this software that I absolutely love. We just don't have time for it. And so I encourage you, check out the description of this video. There's a link where you can check out the pricing. You can use the discount code MarkWallace10 to save 10% off your purchase. That applies if you want to do an annual subscription, or you can do a lifetime perpetual license. So there is nothing to pay. Once you buy it, you own it for your entire life. You never ever have to do anything again. Well, there's so much to talk about for Luminar Neo. Perhaps you have some questions or comments. Please leave those, and maybe we'll revisit this in a few more episodes, because we just barely scratched the surface. So thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget to click on the like and subscribe. Leave comments and questions so that we get bumped up in the algorithm. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you again next time.